Okay, we are live. Дорогие друзья, рада приветствовать вас снова. Это наш 4-й эпизод в рамках инициативы Санаблум. Запись предыдущих эфиров и бесплатных вебинаров вы можете посмотреть по хэштегу Санаблум. Я отмечу под видео. Мы говорим о том, как SEO может помочь нам в таких кризисных ситуациях, как мы можем помочь себе и младшему поколению, какую среду нам необходимо создать для гармоничного развития детей и подростков, помочь им стать сильнее, проявить психологическую жизнестойкость ко всем вызовам. Сегодня наш гость – это Салафа Батырджи. С Салафой мы познакомились на международной конференции в прошлом году по SEO, которая была организована нами, Центром Сана. Салафа, она основатель фонда Europe, который оперирует в Саудовской Аравии, в странах Африки, в секторе образования. Салафа – эксперт в области эмоционального интеллекта и привилегированный партнер организации Six Seconds. Six Seconds, в свою очередь, это некоммерческая международная организация, которая существует уже более 20 лет. Они имеют огромную сеть по всему миру. Их основатель Джошуа Фридман, он один из основоположников концепта эмоционального интеллекта. Okay, so Salafa, welcome to our Sanabloom live broadcast. Just to start off our conversation, could you give a little context for today's conversation, to tell us about your area of expertise and your main projects?
Okay, so greetings from Saudi Arabia to the Kazakhstani nation. I am honored. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you again. First time it was face-to-face, and today it is through live stream. And this shows again that distance during the 21st century has no meaning. We're connected together. The whole world is going through the same thing. We are all living the same story, although we are hundreds of thousands of miles away. So thank you for having me. A special thanks for Sana for having me today through this live stream. I guess during this time, coming from the background of emotional intelligence, I guess during this time of what the world is going through, this is the most important time where we need to utilize and activate our emotional intelligence. This is, I would say with no hesitant, this is one of the most challenging times of human history, where nations and countries and communities went through dramatic agony and pain and worry, which made their life very hard to live day by day. And during this time is the time where emotional intelligence is mostly needed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Salafa. And what feelings you had over these past months? What emotions help you drive forward during these uncertain times and during crisis?
Okay. So like anyone else, we started with surprise, then confusion, uncertainty, worry, disconnection, and then went back to ourselves. I went back to myself and I asked myself, where do I want to be? How do I want to act? And when all of this ends, what are the feelings and what are the thoughts and actions that I want to have? So one of the things that we did is that we launched an initiative to support the community. Mm-hmm. And we started that initiative by collecting data and information from the community. One of the things that we collected was feelings. So we asked people, what are you feeling during this time? Number of feelings that we shared were cautious, empathetic, proactive, lost, resilience, trapped, bored. And it's interesting that people focused on three main feelings at the beginning of the epidemic. They had a high level and intensity of worry, high level and intensity of uncertainty, and high level and intensity of feeling lost. The interesting part is people weren't afraid. There were no fear. But yes, because at the beginning, in discussions and through social media or even through face-to-face gatherings, people were using a lot of "I am afraid" and "I'm afraid." But in reality, people weren't afraid. They were more uncertain. They were worried about the future, especially the future of their kids, because the schooling system was one of the first systems that switched from social gathering to long distance. So there were a lot of surprises in such a short period, and people didn't know how to react to those surprises. So being aware of the feelings and emotions, support people and support the community to actually know what to deal with. Okay, it's different when I'm dealing with fear than when I'm dealing with uncertainty or worry. So this is one of the first things that we address when talking about feelings and emotions during the beginning of the epidemic.
That's so interesting. And we know that emotions are data and that it could be a source of energy. So it's really important to identify what emotions we are feeling at the moment. For example, to be honest, I've been feeling a rainbow of emotions during this period, starting from sadness, distraction, joy, serenity even. You've touched upon how people are navigating their feelings towards educational system or towards these changes. Let's talk more about this. It would be interesting to learn how the school system in Saudi Arabia responding to the situation around COVID-19 and what we could learn from Saudi Arabia in supporting emotional well-being of families and kids during pandemic.
Okay. So as I've said, the schooling system was one of the first systems that was locked down, and there was a very clear direction in requesting schools to create a long distance homeschooling system. Now, this is all new, not only for Saudi Arabia, but for all countries, having a full long distance homeschooling system. I have to say that we were impressed of the speed of how schools were able to prepare something, being sudden and never thought about it before, or even if they thought about it, it was never placed into action. And we all know that having an infrastructure of a long distance learning needs a lot of work and time, effort, specialty, experience. If countries were organizations and they wanted to create a long-term distance learning system, it would have taken them around a year to be able to do that. Yes. However, that wasn't the case during this period. They only had a couple of days to prepare the teachers, to transfer and transform the curriculum from books and hands-on experience to virtual long distance, and to prepare the students and the families. Families are not used to having to monitor their kids to study from home. Okay, it requires a high level of commitment, discipline, even home discipline. So that wasn't easy, to be honest. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of communication between Ministry of Education and between the schools themselves to cover administrative work, lesson planning, even the length of the lesson. Okay, I might be able as a teacher to engage a student in a 40-minute or a 45-minute classroom lesson, but can I do the same when it's long distance? Not quite sure of that. Their span of focused through long distance or online learning, it's not as if they're in the classroom. So it was an intense experience with a very steep curve of learning for the schools, for the ministry, for the teachers, for the students, and for the parents. I've heard comments like from parents, now we appreciate what the teachers are doing in the classroom. It's an easy job. They should be paid the highest salaries, okay? We've learned from the students, we miss being in the school, running in the schoolyard, seeing our friends, engaging in the classroom with real activities. We've heard from the teachers that it's much easier to connect with students when you are communicating with them face to face. It is much harder to actually direct their learning when it is online. So such comments made the whole nation realize the importance of developing a support system to the face-to-face system. Okay, we live in the 21st century. Okay, there is a learning style and experience that needs to be developed. Okay, and what happened was, yes, a surprise, but the whole world is going to go through dramatic changes. So we need to be prepared for those changes. And it's not just the responsibility of Ministry of Education, so the government, it is a distributed responsibility. Okay, for such learning to succeed, students need to raise their sense of commitment. They need to understand and learn that this contribution is part of their commitment to their future. Okay, parents need to be aware that as their kids staying at home, this is not part of their summer vacation. Okay,
there needs to be a psychological ownership of
exactly.
educational processes. Yes.
Exactly. I heard very interesting stories of parents asking their kids to wear their uniforms in the morning, okay, at home, so they can have that sense of, commitment towards the time that they spend online. Sleeping habits, eating habits, scheduling the day, all of these details are very important to ensure that this experience, that everyone leaves this experience with the highest value. And again, I repeat of the importance of the different roles that different stakeholders play. It's not just the responsibility of the Ministry of Education, it's a distributed responsibility.
I just wanted to ask you to share some recommendations for educators, how they could navigate during crisis.
Okay. So there's something that I always repeat, and it's about the importance of emotional intelligence as an immune system. Okay. So we develop our physical immune system from an early age. Okay. We eat healthy, we create healthy habits in our lives, and we commit to them. We take vitamins, we sleep well, we drink healthy juices, because we want a stronger immune system. Okay, the same needs to happen with our emotional and psychological well-being immune system.
Mhm.
Okay, so working and focusing and developing our personal emotional intelligence is actually investing in our psychological and emotional immune system. So when we face such challenges, then we are ready for them. Okay.
Mhm.
So going back to teachers, if I was to recommend what to do during this time, I think first thing is to focus on oneself, me as a teacher, okay? Develop that self-awareness. What am I going through? Okay? What challenges I am facing and what are my strengths? Then how to utilize that strength, that inner strength. What can I give? What is my role, not just as a citizen, but as a teacher, to contribute in influencing the educational experience of my students? As teachers, I think the easiest part is transforming the academic knowledge, okay? Moving it from my own experience as a teacher to the student's experience. I think that's the easiest part. The hardest part is connecting with the students, motivating them to actually be fully engaged in this experience, committing to their homework, explaining to students that learning doesn't only happen in classroom, it is a person's responsibility of being a constant learning, a long life learner, and developing these skills in students. As I've said, math, science, language, these academic resources or infrastructure, it's easy to bridge the gap in what have we lost. But without the main skills, the 21st century skills, the emotional intelligence skills that enable students to face such scenario in their life and reach the finish line with the best outcome, this is the real education. So again, I guess in brief, the academic part is important, but also the skills part is more important. Developing my own emotional intelligence as a teacher, okay, and strengthen my immune system so I can support the parents, I can support the students, and I can support the educational system in general.
Thank you, Salafa. I was saying that everyone is experiencing a lot of stress with regards to this sudden changes in educational system in switching to distance learning. And recently I read in the 6 Seconds article that when we experience stress, our ability to empathize is going down. We start, we biologically predisposed to, when we're experiencing stress, to think short term on how to survive instead of thinking about our long-term goals and collaborating with others, being empathic with others. Yes, and it's important to ask yourself, and this is I thought it is a powerful, it was a powerful question that I heard from Joshua Friedman in one of his videos when he said, just think about how you want to remember this time later in 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to make a contribution, do something greater for your future? Mm-hmm. And for me, it was very powerful and mind-changing. How can educators motivate and inspire positive mindset in students?
Okay. So I guess we need to start by being aware that emotions are contagious. Okay. So whatever emotional status I am in as a teacher, this emotional status will be transferred to the student. If I am focused, engaged, motivated, committed, I can create the same experience with the student. Okay. If I am, as a teacher, distracted, overwhelmed, worried, losing trust in my surrounding, and or losing trust in my students that they will not attend, they will not do their best, then I will transfer all of this to my students. So I'm going to start by an expression that we use in 6 seconds: choose yourself. So as teachers, we need to choose ourselves. We need to choose who do we want to be, what the role that we want to play in this new learning experience. Okay, I chose to be a teacher who is focused, organized, setting my priority in regards to my relationship with my students, in regards to the content that I want to teach, in regards to my commitment. Okay, if I have a class that starts 9 p.m., I will be there. I will not let my students wait for me, because if I am late, then I'm telling them it's okay for you to be late or even not come. If I come with well-prepared material, interesting, engaging material, then I will transfer that engagement to them, and they will be engaged with whatever I propose to them. So I would say this is the first thing for teachers to do, to actually make sure that their students are they are the center of this experience by the teacher choosing himself. Okay. Talking about empathy, yes, during such times, people are in protective mode. Okay, it's a life or death situation. So the engine of our brain wants to protect us, and this happens when this happens, we disconnect.
Yes.
Okay? But being aware of that should drive us as individuals and as teachers to put empathy into action. We are living in a time of the world life where empathy is decreasing. It's becoming less and less because of a number of reasons. Okay. However, if we are aware of that, and during this stressful agony time, I think what we need to focus on is empathy. We need to learn more about it, how to practice it, how to strengthen empathy in ourselves, how to practice it in different ways with different people. As nations, we cannot connect, since we are all in this together. We cannot connect and support each other if we don't understand each other's language. It enables you to understand what the other person is saying, even if you don't understand the letters that he is using.
This is so beautifully said.
Yeah.
And also empathy gives us tools to be effective change makers, and work more effectively in teams by understanding and leveraging all these differences and unique contributions that each of us can make.
Very true. Empathy develops trust. Okay, and trust is highly needed during this time. Okay, it is not a time to search for our differences and build bricks of walls. It is time where we need to be open. We need to be active listeners. We need to read people and their needs rather than be close and protective.
Yeah. And Salafa, would you like to add anything about the role of family in supporting children during distance learning and in general?
Yes, sure. So the family plays a major role, okay, in supporting their kids in committing to their learning journey. As simple as creating the daily system and routines at home. Okay, what time they sleep, what time they wake up in the morning, let's think of the house nowadays as if it's a company, okay? And in a company, you have the management, and you have the employees, and you have the tasks, and you have the projects, and you have the planning, and the assessment, and then the feedback, and then measuring the impact of these projects. Our homes right now are very similar to companies, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, parents play the executive roles. If they do not do the proper planning, okay, if they do not set objectives for their family and their family members, if they don't focus on the well-being, the emotional, the psychological, and the physical well-being of their kids, if they just let them, sleep whenever they want, wake up whenever they want, eat whatever they want, all of this chaos creates an unsafe home environment, which will cause and affect the learning experience and the learning journey of their kids. So as much as home is organized, there is a routine and system that supports the kids. There is positive encouragement. There are talks from the parents with their kids about the importance of their commitment to their learning and studying, and discussions about sensing gratitude in being safe at home rather than being sick, and really utilizing this experience to grow and become stronger. All of these talks and discussions at home will support the family to go through this challenging time with the least negative effect. Okay, so parents are role models. Okay, let's behave in the way that I expect my kids to behave. If we just keep that in mind, if we just do that, I think we will, as families, will be able to cross this bridge with the least negative impact.
Thank you. This is very helpful. And I just wanted to ask you the last question, because our broadcast is coming to an end. So the world is full of complex challenges, and in the recent online conference by 6 Seconds, there was an assumption that maybe if, this is just a rehearsal for some bigger ecological challenges and crises. So how we should prepare ourselves, and how we should support the younger generation to build this resilience, and what can we learn from this current crisis? What main lessons should be learned?
Yeah, so 3 main lessons for me. First lesson, let's build our social emotional immune system. Okay, let's teach emotional intelligence. Let's teach social emotional learning in our schools. It is as important as math and science.
Yes.
Okay, first thing. Okay, so if this is a rehearsal for something bigger and more dramatic, then we need to be ready for it. And as we are being ready scientifically to face that, let's also be ready emotionally and psychologically for it. Second lesson, when we connect and we trust and we work together, nations work together as one, we can face whatever stands in front of us. Okay, and being here today, with you, with Sana, with the Kazakhstani nation, expresses that message very clearly. Okay, we are one. It doesn't matter those hundreds and thousands of miles really have no sense during this hour. Okay, so let's think as one. We are all global citizens, and we need to act upon that. Okay, point number 3, something that we have learned from this challenging time is that each unit, each individual, each person is responsible. Okay, I can either create a positive effect and influence millions of people, or I can do something selfish and also influence hundreds and millions of people. So choosing ourselves, choosing optimism, choosing to navigate fear and worry, okay, being motivated and driven towards a better future, about a better us, okay. Humans are the system of any strong nation, okay. If we want to invest in the future and we want to invest in our countries, we need to invest in those humans. The stronger we will have and the stronger country we will be. So if we all think in that way, I think whatever we face in the future, we're going to be ready for it.
This is so powerful what you just said, and I think it's very important for all of us to become aware of and understand. And I would love to talk about it for hours and hours, but now what we all should do is to translate all these ideas into actions. And if each of us, each of the viewers of this broadcast take at least one idea that you, Salafa, shared with us today and translate it into action, that would be the first steps towards greater positive change. And I believe that by participating in our initiative and sharing your insights, you saw the seeds of positive change in Kazakhstani people. Thank you so much, Salafa.
Thank you. And again, I repeat my gratitude for being here today. And I just wish that everyone stays safe, stay connected, and being aware of themselves and their surroundings.
Thank you. Дорогие зрители, наш эфир подошел к концу. Спасибо вам большое за ваш интерес и внимание. Также хотела сказать, что ваша обратная связь, ваши отзывы очень мотивируют меня, мою команду. Вы можете оставить комментарий о том, что вам понравилось, и это будет для нас огромной мотивацией. Хотела сказать вам спасибо всем тем, кто поддерживает нас таким способом. Спасибо всем большое, хорошего дня и берегите себя.